Enlightenment Thinkers Statue Theater. We're excited to have the opportunity to broadcast live to you today on YouTube. Hopefully there are a number of you out there watching and ready to enjoy the experience. Everybody's been preparing very hard for this over the past couple of days. We are going to get started with Voltaire.
This is Voltaire, a famous French philosopher. He was born into a noble family in 1694. As a noble, Voltaire received a high-level education. He attended Lycée Louis-le-Grand for college. As an adult, Voltaire pursued writing and philosophy. He wrote on all kinds of topics like plays, poems, novels, essays, and much more. He wrote thousands of books and pamphlets, including one of his most famous works, Candide. Voltaire had many ideas about philosophy, politics, and religion. He believed strongly in religious tolerance, meaning he thought people should be able to choose their religion and not be punished for it. He thought that a democracy wouldn't work to rule a country, and that people couldn't decide for themselves. Instead, he suggested having a good, fair king would work better. Voltaire also believed strongly in freedom of press and speech. In 1788, Voltaire died, but his ideas are still talked about today.
All right, let's take a look at Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Okay.
Jean-Jacques Rousseau was a writer and philosopher whose novels and works played a large role in the inspiration and sparking of the French Revolution and the Romantic generation. Jean-Jacques' most famed works included Emile, also referred to as a treatise on education, in which Rousseau claimed that an individual can retain innate human goodness despite being part of a corrupt collective or organization. Another one of his works was The Social Contract, in which Rousseau proposes his theory of a social contract, where everyone is free because everyone loses the same amount of equal rights. He was later exiled for these ideas, but returned to France and died.
Thank you. Let's talk about Nicholas Copernicus. Now we're just hoping that all these images appear on your TV screen.
Yeah.
Which is not likely. So hopefully we'll have some descriptions along the way.
think we're good.
That full box square. Okay, there you go.
Okay. Ready? Okay. The geocentric theory was the only idea about the universe for thousands of years. It was taught that the Earth was the center of the universe, and the sun, moon, and other planets revolved in a circular motion around it, with stars in a fixed point on the outside. For centuries, the geocentric theory was the only idea about the universe taught by the Church. That was until a Polish astronomer known as Nicholas Copernicus challenged the Church's authority and developed his own theory. After 25 years of research and studying, Copernicus released his heliocentric theory that stated that the sun was the center of the universe and that the Earth revolved around the sun. Unfortunately, in his time, Copernicus knew that the Church and other people with authority would reject his ideas, so he never published his theory until the last year of his life. We now join Copernicus on his deathbed with his beloved theory on the table to his right, hoping that he and his theory will be remembered one day. Oh, how I wish people would open their minds and explore new areas of thought with me. If only I published my theory earlier, I could be able to persuade the Church to accept the fact that the Earth revolves around the sun, not the other way around. Hopefully, after I am gone, my theory will remain and continue to grow on people. Who knows, maybe someone will believe in it and fight for the heliocentric theory for me. You never know what could happen in the course of 350 years. ... Later on that day, Nicholas Copernicus died, May 14, 1543, at age 70. The end.
Thank you.
Yeah, because like I don't know if it's like concrete is like putting on
Sorry for the commercial interruption to clean the board. We're moving on to Isaac Newton.
Whoa.
Hello, Mr. Boylsby Period History class. My name is Ivy, and in the next 2 minutes, I'll be discussing the scientific revolution. Participate, Sir Isaac Newton. Sir Isaac Newton was born 373 years ago on January 4, 1643 in Woolsthorpe, England. He later grew up to become a physicist and a mathematician. Newton's mother remarried and left young Isaac to live with an uncle. In 1653, Isaac's mother, Hannah Newton, returned after the death of her second husband. Hannah Newton brought 3 children with her. In 1654, when Newton was 11 years old, he enrolled in Grantham Grammar School. In 1661, when he was 18, Newton enrolled in Trinity College in Cambridge. He received his bachelor degree in arts in 1665. A large accomplishment in Newton's life was being elected into the Royal Society. While these accomplishments are certainly something to talk about, Newton has another that he is most famous for. Newton developed the theory of gravitation and three laws of motion. The apple fell on his head, implying that a force was pulling it towards the ground. This force was gravity. Newton's first law of motion is the law of inertia. It states an object at rest will stay at rest unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. The second law of motion, acceleration, is produced when a force acts on a mass. The greater the mass, the greater the amount of force needed. Newton's third law and final law is for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Sir Isaac Newton was a highly influential and key player in the scientific revolution.
Okay, another commercial interruption to erase our board.
Okay.
All right, it's time for Galileo Galilei.
Hello, I am Galileo, one of the many scientists during the scientific revolution. I had ideas, some of which were truly brilliant and shaped your astronomy today. I believed in the heliocentric theory and agreed with Copernicus on the idea that the sun was in the center of our universe. Through many years of research, trying to get people to believe my theory was very difficult. I used tools such as a telescope that allowed me to look out into our universe and see things that many others have not. The church told me I could no longer spread my theories in public because it made me go against what God had to say. And ultimately, that it was wrong. But I was never stopped believing, and later on, I wrote dialogues to prove my point. Popes put me on trial trying to get me to confess that I was wrong, but I never stopped believing. Because why would God give us these minds full of knowledge and ability to learn if He did not want us to come up with our own ideas and theories to make our world better? Overall, I am proud to say my success was pleased. That now people, like all of you, are accepting and proving that my theory is more and more accurate, and that my theory has been further explored, and people are using my theory to find and create new theories. My name is Galileo Galilei. Will forever go down in history.
All right, let's hear from the Baron de Montesquieu.
This is Baron de Montesquieu. He was a French philosopher born in 1689. He was born into a noble family, but spent a lot of time with peasants in the lower class. He went to the College of Juilly, where he studied science and history. He had many ideas about the government should be set up, and most of his ideas were in his book, The Spirit of Laws. He thought that the best sort of government was a democracy, but it had to be set up a certain way to work well. There had to be what is called separation of powers. That means that there are three branches to a government. One branch is legislative, who makes the laws. Another is the judicial branch, who interprets the laws. The last is executive, who enforces the laws. Although Montesquieu has passed away, our government models his ideas very well.
Okay, let's talk about Mary Wollstonecraft.
Mary Wollstonecraft was born in 1759 in England. She believed that women were non-inferior to men and that they had the right to an education. She wrote a book called The Vindication of the Rights of Women in the 18th century. She was an English writer and philosopher. Mary wrote many novels, treatises, and narratives. She also disagreed with many people about major ideas. She believed that we are all equal to each other and died in 1797 in London.
Okay, John Locke.
John Locke was born in Rington, England in 1632. He worked as a doctor and later became a philosopher and a political scientist. He believed that a baby is born nor good or evil, and he is influenced by others to become the way he is. He also believed that the true basis of a government was social contract, and they should protect the citizens' natural rights. If the citizens disagreed, they had the right to rebel. He died in 1704 at the age of 72, and his ideas carried through future government.
All right, Thomas Hobbes.
This is Thomas Hobbes. He was an English philosopher during the Enlightenment. Hobbes was the son of a clergyman and was excellent in classical languages. Then at age 14, he went to Oxford University. Hobbes later left Oxford to become a private tutor for a wealthy family. After spending some time tutoring, Hobbes traveled widely. During his travels, he met many writers, scientists, and philosophers. Hobbes also lived through the English Civil War, which he sided with the king, who got beheaded during the war. Hobbes had many ideas on the government and people. He believed that in a state of nature, which means that people are quick to fight, he believed that the government kept things in place, and without it, life would be solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. He believed that the government should be based on the social contract, which means giving up some natural rights in order to have protection. To Hobbes, the best government was an absolute monarchy. One of his major works is called the Leviathan. Like many other philosophers, Hobbes made a big impact during the Enlightenment.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you. All right, and finally, Adam Smith.
Hi, my name is Adam Smith. I live in Scotland and I was born in 1723. I've grown up with a passion to write and tutor the royalty. When I became old enough, I started traveling the world, but also taking time to go to college in between. Although I love traveling, I use my passion for writing to write The Wealth of Nations. The Wealth of Nations described Adam Smith's opinions on the government. For example, I stated that I think the government should not be very involved in the economy. This is the idea called laissez-faire. The Wealth of Nations became popular, and I went down in history. Yeah.
Thank you very much for tuning in this morning. I hope you had as much fun watching as we all did presenting. Have a great day.
Bye.